Turns out I don't have social anxiety. Every single person in the world really does hate me. Yesterday, I figured out how my curse worked. Apparently, only people in danger can see what I write. Grandma fell asleep for the first time in the hospital bed. Something else woke up. What was it? Grandma 2.0. Finally, I'm done with my homework. I turn the page in horror as I see it's double-sided. They say you eat 7 spiders a year in your sleep. They never say anything about the thing that feeds them to you. The driver wasn't very chatty, so I checked my phone. Hey, it's your Uber. I'm outside. This is possibly the funniest 2-sentence horror I've ever read. Everyone always talks about skeletons in the closet. What do I do if a skeleton comes out of the closet? Urgent. Congratulate him. It isn't every day you see a gay skeleton. People on the internet always post about how they want to die. You'd be surprised how quickly they change their minds once I get my hands on them. I decided to kill off a few characters in the book I'm writing. It would definitely spice up my autobiography a little. I knew my wife was an alien because of her green blood. I knew she was lying when she kept screaming, "You're colorblind!" I found out I had a family history of Alzheimer's and decided to book an appointment with the doctor to discuss my risk. I already had booked one. God doesn't hide in heaven because he created us. He hides because he doesn't know where we came from. While tidying my laboratory, I came across an unfamiliar notebook and opened the first page. Warning, the subject still thinks he is the scientist. I told the genie for my third and final wish, I wanted my family to be happy, and I started fading. It's just a prank, bro. Relax. That was the last thing we expected to hear from God when we asked why humankind existed. It was just another day at the park with my friends, until that many dead raccoons fell from the sky, the IKEA incident. I decided to go on a tour of the IKEA factory. Little did I know that I would find the creature that lays the IKEA meatballs. Mother, hello, I am looking for a friendly clown for my son's birthday. Are you one of those? Murder clown. Yeah, he attended a party when he was 5, and each kid was given a young chick to take home. As he lays on his deathbed at the age of 99, he wonders why the chicken still hasn't died. I don't get it. He has a chicken that has been alive for 94 years. Come on in, have a seat, said the dentist, who invented the electric chair. Don't panic, this is your brain. I don't have much time. It can't decipher scrambled words. Get help. It's already inside of you. Never mind, you're fine. In 1950, there were 2.5 billion people on Earth, and now there are 8. But Sarah just died. I guess the number went down to 7. I wasn't scared of long hallways. That wasn't until I met the hallway man. You always loved playing Among Us, Cheryl said, as I looked down at her son's grave. Too bad I was the imposter. Ah, finally, I'm all alone, I said to myself as I sat in my bedroom at midnight. No, you're not, said the knife guy. I took her to my penthouse, then I freaked it. A guy said I was too ugly to get a girlfriend, and now that I've killed him, he won't be getting a girlfriend either. According to the computer's readouts, the astronaut's oxygen gave out 5 days ago. So why were they still screaming? Give a man a fish, and he won't notice you dumping a dead body in the lake. Teach a man to fish, and he will be alone at the scene of the crime when the police show up. There was an evil clown. He attacked many young people. I finally got into a comfortable and warm position under my bed covers. I then had to pee. I asked the genie for $1,000 a day for the rest of my life. Sighing, he gave me $3,000 in total and said good luck. Starving and desperate, I prayed to the golden idol to send me something to eat before I perish. Wow, thanks for the stranger, kind gold. I wish I hadn't tried to put my cat down. He only responded with, bullets don't work, John. Wait, Garfield? The worst part of the zombie apocalypse wasn't the deafening silence and loneliness. It was having full consciousness and thought, but being able to control my rotting body. Not only have we implanted a lifetime of human memories into this rat, but we can now monitor what it's thinking. It appears to think it's reading the second line of a 2-sentence story on Reddit right now. Knowing the game would take several hours to download, I went to bed. When I woke up the next morning, I saw a pop-up window asking me to confirm the download. Yeah, this is definitely up there in the worst ones in this video. I thought kidnappers were supposed to be evil people, but I'm starting to think mine is just misunderstood. I leaned into the mirror, squinting as I raised the tweezers to my eyebrows to pluck a single hair that had been annoying me for a while now. It was strangely difficult to pull, but I could only scream as I realized I had pulled out the leg of a very angry spider in my skin. As I woke up in the middle of the night, I heard Alexa speak. Okay, the security alarms have been disabled. The people of the town said a monster lived in the woods. I frankly found it ridiculous, for I was the only one who lived in the woods, and I have seen no monster. Tinder is completely useless, and I don't have a single match. If I don't find another way to start a campfire tonight, I'll freeze to death. I can hear 1 year into the future. Today, the noise stopped. Battery at 1%. I looked at Earth one last time, before my suit ran out of power. I had a dream I was being dragged to hell, burning and writhing in agony. I woke up with the doctor standing over me, saying, "Phew, we'd lost you for a few minutes. Did you know that the Center for Disease Control keeps a sample of every disease known to man in an underground vault? Did you know that some of of those diseases can be only preserved inside of living human hosts. Ah, so it's 2020, the time traveler said. Very early in, from the looks of it. He muttered under his breath. The world was thrilled with the announcement that the first mission to Mars would be an all-female crew. 1 year later, the world was terrified when they all returned pregnant. My wife has ruined my life for so long that I finally hired a hitman. As we sit having lunch, I see him approach and smile, knowing that she will never be able to forget my exploding face. Biting into my sandwich, I disgustingly spat out a gold ring and wondered where it came from. My question was soon answered when I bit into the other sandwich half and spat out a severed finger. You shall become the animal you eat, the speakers said, as I saw everyone transform into farm animals. As I stayed human, they all stared at me. The victim was found with 108 Uno cards in his corpse. Then, the coroner pulled one out. He heard a ticking sound begin and noticed the card was marked reverse. In the middle of the night, your dog stands on his hind legs and says, "Nobody will ever believe you." Then you see him grab a kitchen knife and run into your parents' room. The creature consumes souls, took everyone else's, but it can't seem to stomach mine. The pros of being a virgin, I said with a grin under my breath. My face turned to horror when the paternity test said I was the father. My wife grabbed my arm tightly and said, "Whatever you hear on the other side of that door, do not open it." The voice coming from the other side sounded exactly like my wife, yelling, "Honey, it's not really me in there. Get out now." My father handed me a gun and told me that I knew what I had to do. I shot him the minute he turned around because I knew that I would need something to eat once I became a zombie. As a non-believer, I was expecting to stare at a dark void for all eternity after death. What I wasn't expecting were those white letters rising from the bottom. "I've missed you so much," I whispered as she removes her clothes to take a shower. Watching her through the binoculars was painful, but at least I'd found where her new house was, after being forced to starve and live naked in the woods for years. My wife and I finally found the courage to steal some food from the man who had been torturing us. I felt my heart sink as a thundering voice shook the earth, saying, "Adam, what have you done?" After months of tracking him down, I tortured and killed him in the same thoughtless way he had killed his victims. I despise copycat serial killers that don't even know how to imitate all of my details precisely. My dad was angry when I showed him my test results. I'm having a daughter and a sister? Over 1 in 10 marriages end in divorce, but my parents have stayed together through everything. I tried to free my mom once, but my dad found out and locked me in the basement too. I must admit, lucid dreaming really is as amazing as people say. But after 2 years, I would like to wake up again. They say a shiver down your spine means that someone is walking over your future burial site. As my husband walks around gardening, the shivers won't stop. The aliens arrived with a message of peace and love for Earth, and as the first gesture of goodwill, they removed the human parasites from its surface. "Hey hun, come upstairs, I have a surprise," I shouted when I heard her get home. Having only a few hours to practice, I gotta say, I was pretty proud that she couldn't tell it wasn't him. When the young kid posted a video of him threatening an elf on the shelf, he found it hilarious to see hundreds of people with elf profile pictures saying, "Get ready for war." What he didn't find funny was when one of them posted all of his personal details and said, "We will strike at midnight." As I played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for the PlayStation 2, I noticed something deeply horrifying. CJ turned to face me and said, "Hey, stop controlling me with that controller. Girls are like strawberries. Sometimes they're in my refrigerator." We spent years thinking the blue whale was the largest species on the planet, until today when one washed up on the beach in South Africa, cleanly bitten in half. This is why I hate the sea. I wish I could taste peanuts without dying. I told the genie since my allergy never allowed me to try them. From then on, I lived for billions of years in anaphylactic shock, gasping for breath and hurtling through space long after the death of Earth. While my phone sat beside me, unprompted, Siri suddenly described the definition of fear. Then the power went out. I think I might be the most successful serial killer in history. The best part is telling their loved ones we did everything we could. I spent years curating the perfect killing machine. So when my wife, after a lifetime of relentless abuse, stabbed me in the neck with a kitchen knife, I couldn't help but feel proud of myself. A crazy woman rushed out of the elevator as the doors opened. I stepped inside, noticing that there is no button in it while the doors were closing. "Dude, what's up?" he hollered as I waved back, trying to remember his name. "Not much," a voice waking up from behind me says. The killer was found to be a man with severe mental illness. He was so far gone, I was able to convince him that he had committed those crimes. Spent 24 hours locked in the old insane asylum and win $1 million. It's been 26 hours, so why are the doors still locked? A fever is the result of a body trying to get rid of an infection. Global warming isn't the problem, it's the solution. It's always annoying finding something stringy in your mouth, like a hair. Especially when you pull it out and it just keeps on going. Honey, monsters aren't real. Little does she know, I'm not her son. I have the psychic ability which makes makes people look more and more transparent as they get closer to their death day. I haven't seen anyone in almost a week. My mum says I need to start taking my schizophrenia medication again because it's unhealthy for me to suddenly stop taking them, but it's the only way I can keep her around. It's been almost a decade since I saw my mother, and she still reminds me every day that if I misbehave again, she will take my hearing too. The new medication worked, and the internal voices that always told me what to do went silent. Kill them all, I thought, and this time, nobody argued back. The building was abandoned, except for the demons. Holy fuck. Yeah. The police claimed they arrived 2 hours after the life had been taken. Turns out, it was longer than that. What does that mean? The murder was 3 hours ago. My parents would drop off my animals in the woods, far away when they got old, or sick with no food or water. Driving to the woods, my old, sick, frail mother asked why we were here. No way. They used to let you do that? My granddaughter exclaimed, looking at the video of me as a child. Timestamped 2023. It was just a video of me and my family at the beach, under the bright but bearable sun. After my girlfriend dumped me, I punched my bathroom mirror in anger, leaving blood in the cracks. At first I thought the blood was from my fist. Then the shards fell, to reveal a wall of flesh behind the mirror. I was using an Ouija board, and for fun, I asked the spirits why they were still lingering here instead of going to heaven. The fun ended when it spelled out, "Heaven is not what you think it is." The genie told me that he would grant me one wish, but at a price. So I wished to be an immortal, with the exception that I could end my life at the snap of my fingers. I screamed in agony, looking down at the stumps at the end of my arms, realizing what the price was. After buying our first home, my wife and I decided to get ourselves a dog. I kinda regret getting a retired police dog, though, since the stupid mutt doesn't stop barking at our bedroom floor. I was curious to know how chicken tastes. All my life, I only tasted humans. Punctuality has never been my strong suit. As I sit here and watch the last ship leave for New Earth, I wish it was. My wife being pregnant without my involvement normally would have me suspicious. Since we've been alone in this spaceship for about a year, it made me afraid. My new suit fits like a glove. I'm going to miss sleeping next to her. I sobbed as my daughter begged me not to pull the trigger. It gets harder and harder to kill her each time she returns. If I put a lot of periods in the first sentence, the mods will have to remove it for being more than 2 sentences. I hope this works because my captor says once this hits 100 upvotes, I'm done for. God would never allow such a horrid creature in his house. The priest exclaimed as the demon approached. The creature hissed, "Then you should know why he sent me." She said last time, "We're stuck in a time loop," which really pisses me off because that's what she said last time. We're stuck in a time loop, which really pisses me off because that's what she said last time. God, I broke the loop. Pizza guy delivered my pizza and said, "Enjoy it, you two." I was just glad I wasn't the only one who saw it. The machine I'd made worked perfectly. Erase all of the love of my life's bad memories and let her know nothing but happiness. She stepped out of the machine and looked at me with a blank expression. "Who are you?" "You hear your mum coming up the stairs, so you shut your laptop lid." The sound keeps playing. My wife rolled over and sighed. "It's your turn to feed the baby." I groaned as I got out of bed, walked out and into the barn, and tossed another bleating lamb into the darkened pit below. It took 5 minutes and a screwdriver, but the cap finally came loose with a satisfying pop. Now, for the other knee. They said time travel could have serious consequences, but so far everything seems fine. I slam against the window and yell to the stranger to let me out. "Please." He does terrible things at night. "Look at the cute doggy," they shout. I've always wondered, what's the scythe for, anyway? I asked as Death escorted me to the underworld. "Protection?" he answered nervously. I told her there was no monster in her closet as I picked her up and told her she could sleep with us tonight. I figured that was the safest way of getting her out of the house without him realizing I saw him. All my life, my parents have told me not to open the basement door, but I got curious and disobeyed them. What is that glowing ball in the sky, and why does it hurt my eyes? I was born blind, but lucky enough to having a loving mother who took care of my every need. Imagine the betrayal I felt when a stitch slipped and a ray of light hit my eye for the first time. When the blood starts piercing the surface, that's when you know the steak is medium rare. I watched hopelessly as Gordon was searing what was once my thigh muscle. The Fall Out Boy concert was going great until boys started falling out of the sky. As I slowly inched my way back to the shore of the frozen lake, it was not the steady cracking with each footstep that filled me with terror. It was the bloated faces grinning at me from beneath the ice. My husband cheated on me with his online girlfriend and flew to a small island country to visit her. 10 years later, as I happened upon the island in a cruise ship, I hear a delicious, intoxicating female voice and start to realize why my husband never came back. When the tsunamis hit, most people were evacuated. Feeling the trickle of water rise to my chin, I let go of the prison bars in bitter resentment. I was video chatting and dropped my phone in the floor. As I picked it up, my husband's face changed. He held his hands to his lips, as if saying be quiet, and to my horror, he wrote, "There's there's a man under your bed. My brother and I sat down with the Ouija board and both placed our hands on the thing. He said, Cole, are you here with me? I moved it to yes. The note said, I hate you, Mum. I've run away from home forever. It took me 5 tries, but I finally got the handwriting to look just like hers. I was relieved when I realized the only damage to the time machine was to the wires. All I need to do now is find someone in ancient summer to sell me some good quality copper. This is a great 2-sentence horror, actually. I'm the one that always knows when you've got uncovered toes. While it's asleep, I will uncover your feet, then those tasty treats I'll eat. I smiled at my daughter's writing assignment, which read, one day, my child will look at me at the same way I look at my parents. My heart dropped when I noticed the prompt, write about your worst fear. The entire way home, I'd felt as though I was followed, yet I could see no one was behind me. I suddenly stopped before setting my foot onto the ground and froze when I heard another shoe hit the ground behind me. As I talked to the police, I had no idea why the infamous gang of criminals would kidnap my daughter. When the police finally tracked her down, it became clear that the criminals know her better than I did. Or she's like a gang leader, I don't know. She was surprised at the weight of the antique candlesticks. She was on much brain matter was still stuck to it. What? Candlestick bonk. I had always been proud that I'd raised my son to never interrupt adult conversations. When he stood silently, waiting for his father and uncle to finish discussing the football game as I stroked out, I started to wish I hadn't been quite as heavy-handed. I saved my dad from this scary man that approached the door. As he rewarded me with a car ride, he cried, you were a good boy. I'm so sorry. If only dogs could speak. This is the response I get from my 54-year-old roommate to turn down the techno at insane volumes. Could you please turn it down a bit? Can I shoot myself? No? What? Being funny in an old man way.